Hi, my name is Danila Serra from Texas A&M University, and this is a joint project with Elijah Kipchamba at BRAC, Catherine Porter at Lancaster University, and Moshe Soleiman also at BRAC. And this is a study of the impact of role models on children's education aspiration and gender attitudes in Somalia. I'm going to go straight into it because I need to be mindful of my time and I only have 5 minutes. So the research questions are pretty straightforward. We want to understand whether exposing young children to men and women who are currently enrolled in college and they come from a similar background could induce them to also aspire to a college education. And also, question number 2, we want to understand whether coming into contact with a female college student and hearing her experiences could also affect gender attitudes towards equality in education and in the labor market. There is some literature on this topic or similar topics. I guess there is more interest in the impact of role models in the coming years, and role models either through TV shows or movies. Here I'm just reporting a very small set of this literature. So we are definitely working in this realm of the literature on the impact of role models, on aspirations, and behaviors in developing countries. Also, what we're doing differently is that we are presenting role models face to face, and this is in line with my previous work with Catherine, which has to do with the exposure of college students to female role models. And that's our Porter and Serra 2020. This study is also closely related to a recently revised study by Dar et al. In India, where there was this very much, long-term and intense interventions trying to influence aspirations and gender attitudes and behaviors of teenagers in schools. The difference here is that our intervention is much more small scale and way cheaper, and we also have much smaller data set, and our data is limited. But at the same time, we are working in a very difficult context in Somalia where there's very little research done. It's post-war context and a fragile state. So it's difficult to get reliable data from a country like that, and hopefully we can contribute to work done in Somalia and similar countries as well. What we did is we randomized primary schools to receive our role model intervention, which, as I said, consisted in role model visits, where role models are college students, either men or women. We measure outcomes twice, once 6 months after the intervention, and then we went back a couple of years later. And what we are interested, as I said, mainly is aspirations to go to college. And we have this index I'm going to talk about, which measures gender attitudes. We work with Save the Children International, which was active in 46 primary schools in Somalia. And we basically convinced them to let us randomize these schools just before they went back for their end line. And so we randomly selected 22 schools for our intervention. And we sent one male college student and one female college student, which we found based on recommendation from teachers. So these are students that come from the same geographical area, with a similar background. And so each school received one male college student, one female college student. However, within each treatment school, we randomized the grades that received a male or a female. Okay, so control schools, nothing happened. Treatment schools, we have grades that didn't receive any visits. We treated 4 grades in each school, and then within those 4 grades, we randomized 2 that will receive a visit from a young man, and 2 that would receive a visit from a young female. As I said, the intervention happened maybe I didn't say that, around April 2018. We went back in fall 2018 and we did a survey, and that's our first source of data, a survey of students who were grade 5 and above. This was a self-administered questionnaire, so we could not really rely on younger children to fill in this questionnaire. So we focused on the grade 5 and above. And then we went again in spring 2020, just before COVID hit. And in that case, we only focused on the graduating class, the graduating course. So these were the students who were treated when they were in grade 6. And when we went back in 2020, they were in grade 8 and they were about to graduate. And so we wanted to catch them just before they graduated. Okay, so as I said, we work with Save the Children, but at the same time, much of the data collection was outside our control. We could only prepare a very short questionnaire, at most 2 pages. Oh, 2 pages long, and I'm sorry, I'm already out of time, so I need to speed up. Here's the information on the sample size. I'm just gonna go into the results. We don't really find much of the result for aspirations to go to college. There seems to be, for the grade 6 students, some impact of female role models on the boys' decision to or desire to go to college, but it is only marginally significant in regression analysis. Here is the gender aptitude index. So we asked 4 questions, 4 agree-disagree questions aimed at capturing gender attitudes toward equality in education and the job market, and those are here in the slide. And here what we can see is that, at least in the 2018 data, we find quite a significant impact of our intervention, especially the female role model intervention, classroom visits, on both boys and girls' attitudes toward gender equality. In this figure, the index is on a scale from 1 to 4, where 4 is higher equality. At a glance, the data in 2020 on only the grade 6 students, who are now grade 8, seems to suggest that these results persist over time. But as you can see in this regression table, actually what we are finding is that the result did not persist in 2020. It is very strong and robust, and also quite large magnitude. These results are expressed in standard deviation from the control mean, so that you can have a look and glance at these results. And so here you can see that the results are strong and significant, and we can throw anything at these results, what kind of controls. We are clustering the standard errors at the school grade up to column 4 here, and then only at the school level. We only focus on grade 6. We control for school characteristics, individual characteristics, and the result stays. However, when we look at the 2020 data, we don't see any more results. And right now we are trying to understand what's going on, because as you can see, we also have a very different sample size. And this is due to the fact that in grade 8, we basically are capturing the full cohort, because the students in April were preparing for their state exam, and so they were all in school, while in 2018, we only surveyed those that were in school. And so we have about 60 to 70% of, we expect, I mean, based on the grade 8 comparison, we think that we have data for about 60 to 70% of each cohort, each grade. And it's unclear whether, possibly the 2020 results are not there either because the effect vanished over time, or it's also possible that many of the students who we surveyed in 2020 were not really present during the intervention. If those are the students who usually miss class, they are also likely to have missed the intervention. And so we are trying to now dig deeper in the data and trying to understand better what is driving the no result in 2020, if it's purely a no result, or there is something to do with the kind of students who were present in 2020 but were not present in 2018 and possibly at the time of the intervention. I think I'm a little bit over time, but not too bad. I think a couple of minutes. Please send me an email if you have questions, comments, and hopefully we'll have a paper coming out in a month or so. Thank you so much.